Welcome to today's video, where we dive into one of the most intense Formula One seasons we've seen in recent years. Max Verstappen, the three-time world champion, is facing a strong challenge from Lando Norris. The final 6 races of the 2024 season will push Verstappen in ways he hasn't experienced since his first championship in 2021. But with his undeniable talent, a well-prepared Red Bull team, and some crucial upgrades arriving in Austin, can Max turn the tide? Or will Norris and McLaren manage to pull off what would be one of the greatest upsets in recent Formula One history? Stick around till the end, because there's a lot to unpack as we analyze whether McLaren can overcome Red Bull's formidable presence on the grid. Trust me, you won't want to miss a second. At the start of this season, it seemed like Red Bull and Verstappen were untouchable. Max cruised to victories in the first 5 races with ease, leaving little room for doubt about his dominance. But things took an unexpected turn, and despite securing wins in Spain, Canada, and Imola, the momentum has gradually shifted away from Red Bull. The last 8 races have left them winless, and with only 6 races remaining, the pressure is mounting. Red Bull, however, remains optimistic. They are betting big on the upcoming races, especially with 3 sprint events and an essential upgrade package being brought to Austin. Their main focus is on improving the car's balance, an issue that has plagued them recently. But it's not just Red Bull we need to talk about. McLaren has had its share of missed opportunities too. Races like Canada, Monza, Austria, and Hungary showcase McLaren's potential, but also highlighted some critical errors that may come back to haunt them. Take Hungary, for example. Many questioned the team's strategy when they gave Oscar Piastri the lead back from Norris, which was a result of a team error in the first place. Norris was told by his race engineer that Piastri could be crucial for the championship battle, yet in doing so, they cost Norris valuable points, 7 to be exact. Those points could play a significant role in the final standings. On the flip side, Oscar Piastri's actions in Monza were not to blame, but the lack of teamwork certainly didn't help Norris. When it was clear that Piastri wasn't going to catch Leclerc in that race, a simple position swap could have saved Norris 3 crucial points. Similarly, in Austria, Verstappen's aggressive defense led to Norris's DNF, while Verstappen still managed to finish 5th, adding another 10 points to his tally. McLaren, in all fairness, has no one to blame but themselves for a few missed chances. Strategic blunders in Canada and Silverstone left Norris with fewer points than he could have earned, and these mistakes might just define his championship challenge. While Norris has managed to score the most points over the last 4 races, an impressive 80 points, the gap between him and Verstappen remains the same as it was after Miami, 52 points. This means that, despite his best efforts, Norris still has one of the biggest gaps to close in F1 history. During the summer break, the gap was as large as 78 points. So even though he's clawed back some of the difference, it's clear that Verstappen and Red Bull are determined to secure this title. With the upgrades in Austin promising to address some key issues, Red Bull's confidence is building again, making it an uphill battle for Norris. As we look ahead to the Austin Grand Prix, Verstappen has already expressed optimism about the upcoming upgrades. He mentioned that the car's balance has improved since Baku, and Red Bull's simulation data is giving them hope. He acknowledged that while it takes time to turn things around in Formula One, the team is headed in the right direction. They are confident that the worst of their struggles is behind them, and that they can make significant strides in the races ahead. One key area of focus for Red Bull will be the front wing. The FIA's recent allowance for more flexibility in wing design has opened up opportunities for improvement that Red Bull plans to capitalize on. Their original design from earlier in the season didn't take full advantage of these regulations, so the team is keen to make up for lost time. And it's not just Red Bull making changes, other teams like Ferrari and Mercedes are also pushing updates. Despite some internal struggles within Red Bull, team principal Christian Horner remains adamant that the focus is on the championship. He has been clear that they're not looking back now, and with these upgrades, they believe they can bring a more balanced car to the track, one that will boost driver confidence, particularly in tough cornering situations. But the real question is, can they outpace a hungry McLaren team that has been gaining momentum? Horner has hinted that all teams will likely bring new upgrades to Austin, not just Red Bull. Ferrari, Mercedes, and McLaren are all expected to have fresh developments. However, Horner is focused on building upon the data they've gathered since Monza and bringing a car to Austin that's well balanced across both axles. This balance is crucial for giving Verstappen the confidence he needs to push the car to its limits. The challenge, however, won't be easy. Lando Norris has proven to be a formidable competitor, especially after his impressive performance during the first stint in Singapore. Red Bull knows they need about 23 seconds to close the gap and make real headway. Although they've started to find solutions, it's clear that there's still a long road ahead, with much depending on how their car responds to the upcoming upgrades. Another factor in play is the sensitivity of the tires this season, which has been a crucial issue for all teams, including Red Bull. The unpredictable behavior of the tires could become a decisive element in how the championship plays out. Verstappen himself has acknowledged that Norris and McLaren would need a flawless end to the season to stand a chance. Even if Norris were to win every remaining race, it might not be enough unless Verstappen finishes lower than second place in at least one of those races, a monumental task. Verstappen elaborated further, stating that while McLaren needs a perfect end to the season, Red Bull is confident that the upgrades they've planned for Austin could make the difference. Helmut Marko, one of Red Bull's key figures, emphasized that while they are expecting positive results, it's important not to place too much faith in the upgrades right away. After all, 2024 has shown how unpredictable upgrades can be, even for top teams like Red Bull. Marko mentioned that the changes made in Singapore had a positive impact, but they were only the beginning. He believes that the team has to win again on their own merit, with a car that truly allows Verstappen to shine. Verstappen can push a car to the absolute limit, but even he struggles when it's unpredictable and oscillating between understeering and oversteering. The inconsistency has been a thorn in Red Bull's side, and it's something they're determined to fix. One bit of good news for Red Bull is that the surface at the Austin Grand Prix has been resurfaced. This means that they're less likely to experience the bouncing issues that plagued them both last year and earlier this season. Verstappen has pointed out that the track previously felt better suited for a rally car than an F1 machine, so the recent changes should smooth things out. However, there's a catch: the new asphalt could lead to less grip and higher tire degradation, an issue Red Bull will need to manage carefully if they want to stay ahead. While Red Bull is working hard to overcome their challenges, Lando Norris and McLaren are fully aware of the task ahead of them. They can't underestimate Red Bull's capabilities, nor Verstappen's experience in handling high-pressure situations like this. Red Bull has been the most dominant force in Formula One over the past few years, and Norris knows that going up against them means facing an extremely tough opponent. Norris commented on how well things are going for McLaren at the moment, even expressing a desire to skip the break and head straight to Austin. He praised his team for doing an incredible job, but he's fully aware that Red Bull is never a team you can write off, even when things look tough for them. With Verstappen and Red Bull chasing them, McLaren can't afford to relax. The competition is fierce, and any slip-ups could cost them dearly. As McLaren gears up for the final stretch of the season, they will be relying on Oscar Piastri's support to keep pushing in the Constructors' Championship, while also giving Norris a shot at catching Verstappen in the Drivers' Championship. Piastri himself has stated that the team's priority is maintaining their lead in the Constructors' standings, but he's also been clear that any help he provides to Norris must make sense for the race situation. McLaren is bringing their own upgrades to Austin, hoping that the advantage remains in their favor. With McLaren's upgrades on the way and the intense rivalry building, the question remains: does McLaren truly have what it takes to dethrone Verstappen? The remaining races will be a critical test of whether Norris can handle the pressure and rise to the occasion. But one thing is clear: Red Bull and Verstappen are not going down without a fight. The gap of 52 points still looms large, but Norris's determination to close it is undeniable. Reflecting on the challenge ahead, Norris admitted that while they've been doing incredibly well, the 52-point deficit is still a tough mountain to climb. He expressed that despite his team's excellent performance, Red Bull and Verstappen are always a looming threat. When you're up against Max and Red Bull, you're never really safe, Norris shared, adding that their dominance over the past few years means they know how to fight back, even when things look uncertain. McLaren, however, is not backing down. They'll need to rely on Piastri to keep pushing for top finishes, but as Piastri himself stated, he won't simply give up positions to help Norris unless it makes sense. The dynamic between the two drivers will be key to McLaren's strategy moving forward. With the upgrades and their teamwork, McLaren is hoping that the balance shifts in their favor as they enter the final stages of the season. With all these factors in play, it's time to ask the big question: can McLaren and Norris actually challenge Verstappen for the 2024 Drivers' Championship? It's going to take nothing short of perfection from here on out. If Norris wants to catch up, he'll need to win almost every remaining race, while hoping that Verstappen doesn't consistently finish in the top two. This might seem like an impossible task, but in Formula One, anything can happen. Red Bull's upcoming upgrades in Austin may well be their ticket back to dominance, but as team advisor Helmut Marko reminded everyone, they must be cautious about relying too heavily on the upgrades. The unpredictability of the 2024 season has shown that even the best-laid plans can go awry. Yet Red Bull remains focused on giving Verstappen the tools he needs to push to his absolute limit, eliminating the understeer and oversteer issues that have hindered him. On the other hand, McLaren knows they must bring their best game, and they're counting on Norris and Piastri to deliver top performances. Piastri has already shown that he's not afraid of a fight, but he made it clear that any support for Norris must align with the team's strategy. The next races will determine whether McLaren can truly challenge for both the constructors' and drivers' titles. So, what do you think? Can McLaren pull off a surprise victory and end Red Bull's reign at the top? Or will Verstappen and his team rise once again to claim the championship? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to check out the next video appearing on your screen.